Hello movie fans and TV fans. Welcome to another episode of the Cinema Gold Show on the Highwire Media Network. Today's episode, we're diving into the latest box office news and headlines from around the industry. But before we do that, give us a thumbs up if you like our videos. Hit that subscribe button down below. You know, that shiny subscribe button. Oh, and hit that bell notification button so you can be notified right away when we release our next episode. And of course, you can find this episode on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Good Pods. Go check it out today. And with that, let's dive into today's first topic. Of course, the box office report. Deadpool and Wolverine have crossed 1 billion globally on its way to becoming the top rated R picture of all time. Deadpool and Wolverine stars Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, along with director Sean Levy, have received their membership cards to the $1 billion box office club. Marvel Studios and Disney's summer blockbuster achieved the feat on Saturday and will finish the weekend with an estimated $1.029 billion in global ticket sales, including $494.3 million domestically, $535.2 million overseas. The audacious third outing in the Deadpool series that began its life at 20th Century Fox is a huge win for franchise mastermind Ryan Reynolds, as well as for Marvel Studios and the superhero genre in general. It's the first superhero movie to cross 1 billion since Sony and Marvel's Spider-Man No Way Home 2.5 years ago, and the first Marvel Disney MCU pick to cross the 1 billion threshold since Avengers Endgame in 2019. Moreover, Deadpool and Wolverine is just days away from passing up Warner Brothers and Todd Phillips' Joker at $1.079 billion and becoming the top-grossing R-rated film of all time in the global box office, not adjusted for inflation. It now ranks number 2 after passing up Oppenheimer in North America. It already holds the R-rated record. Moreover, it tied with the Avengers to become the 4th fastest MCU title to speed past 1 billion, 19 days. Avenger Endgame tops the list at 5 days, followed by Avengers Infinity War at 11 days, and Spider-Man No Way Home at 12 days. Deadpool and Wolverine is the 55th movie to clear the 1 billion mark, the 31st Disney title to do so, which includes 3 20th Century Fox films inherited in the Disney-Fox merger, and the 11th MCU movie, including 2 Spider-Man films, Homecoming and No Way Home. Other notable factoids, it's the second film of the year so far to join the $1 billion club after Disney Pixar film Inside Out 2, which now tops the chart of the top grossing animated film of all time with nearly $1.6 billion in global ticket sales. Disney is the only studio to ever deliver back-to-back $1 billion films in a given year. Deadpool and Wolverine have smashed one record after another since debuting over the July 26th to 28th weekend, including quickly passing up the entire lifetime runs of the first 2 Deadpool films, both domestically and globally, after just 2 weekends in theaters. Deadpool's domestic earnings were $363.1 million for a global total of $782.6 worldwide. The second film's domestic haul was $318.5 million for a worldwide total of $734.5 million. As far as how high it can ultimately climb, most are predicting the pick will land at between $1.2 billion to $1.3 billion. Giving credence to Reynolds' theory in that he and the filmmakers succeeded in making the first 4-quadrant R-rated film. While Marvel and Deadpool found their success at the box office, Borderlands didn't exactly quite sit well with critics and audiences. With its very rare, very upsetting 0% debut Rotten Tomatoes score. The Borderlands movie is not impressing with critics in its early reviews. This could be seen as a pretty bad sign for how the movie is being received by wider audiences when it debuted. Just ahead of the wide release of Borderlands, the film debuted on Rotten Tomatoes with the rare and unfortunate score of 0%. Not one critic has yet given the film a positive review, and while that number could rise to an extent with other critics weighing in, it seems unlikely the video game adaptation will come close to getting out of its rotten status. There's always the chance that audiences will better appreciate the film, as there is sometimes a big divide between filmgoers and critics. In any case, it's not a great start for Borderlands. Quote, "It's dragged us back to a time when studios used to make these with all the grace and acuity of a drunk person attempting to place a 3 a.m. chicken nugget order." Independent reviewer Clarice said of the film, giving Borderlands a 1 out of 5 rating. Awards Watch critic Alistair Ryder said in a review, quote, "Borderlands is the worst kind of bad movie, the type of devoid of any offbeat quirks that could propel it to a second life as a cult classic, feeling insufferable and overlong and a brisk 102 minutes because of its sheer lack of originality." Quote, "In our plus of noise and lame wisecracks without tension or sense of purpose. Borderlands would be Exhibit Z in the argument that video games don't transfer well cinematically, if recent efforts like The Last of Us or Fallout hadn't proved otherwise. Original Sin critic Jim Slodick suggesting that even big fans of the video game won't be satisfied. Discussing film critic Andrew Salazar said, quote, "Sure, there are a ton of Easter eggs and visual references to the video games, but the fans deserve a lot better than whatever director Eli Roth is trying to do with Borderlands. This is the video game movie curse at its worst." For a period of many years, video game movies had a bad reputation, seen as cursed due to how they most often struggled with audiences. That's changed in more recent years with films like Sonic the Hedgehog and the Super Mario Bros. Movie becoming big hits with high audience praise. The reception to Borderlands is more reminiscent of the earlier years of video game adaptation, harking back to an era of titles like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and the original live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie. Directed by Eli Roth, Borderlands is directly inspired by the video game franchise, following a group of misfits banding together looking to locate the daughter of the most powerful man in the universe. The ensemble cast includes names like Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Edgar Ramirez, Gina Gershon, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Borderlands arrived in theaters on August 9th, 2024. And now for some surprising but yet not surprising Disney Star Wars news. Disney has confirmed plans to release 3 new Star Wars movies in 2026 and 2027. Disney recently confirmed that Star Wars will release 3 new movies in 2026 and 2027, which matches with the franchise's release schedule for those years. There are quite a few upcoming Star Wars movies currently in development, from confirmed titles like The Mandalorian and Grogu to less well-defined films like New Jedi Order. Despite the number of movies Star Wars has in development, however, very little information about them has been made available. While the franchise still hasn't confirmed any story details, Disney has confirmed when the next Star Wars movie will hit theaters. Disney's third quarter investor presentation confirmed that Star Wars will have 3 new movies in 2026 and 2027, among other details. Aside from the confirmation that The Mandalorian and Grogu would mark Star Wars' return to movie theaters, there hasn't been much information about the franchise's upcoming films. There haven't even been filming updates about The Mandalorian and Grogu, which seemed to be a sign that its release date would be pushed back. Disney's investors presentation, however, seems to be proof that Star Wars' ongoing projects are still on schedule and that they should be ready for the release dates Lucasfilm has booked in the coming years. The fact that Disney is still aiming for its original release years indicates that some significant progress has been made on at least The Mandalorian and Grogu, if not the other 2 films as well. As we've learned during D23 this past week, Disney made some confirmations of Mandalorian and Grogu and other Star Wars films. D23 is Disney's annual fan convention, and it's a big enough event to draw the type of attention Disney and Lucasfilm would want for an announcement about the future of Star Wars. Lucasfilm announced its D23 schedule, and the Disney Entertainment Showcase at D23 looks like one of the most likely places Lucasfilm would have made an announcement about its upcoming Star Wars films. The showcase has promised to give a glimpse of future projects and surprise announcements that could easily include The Mandalorian and Grogu, New Jedi Order, or even Dawn of the Jedi. Which, if you attended D23, that is what they gave you. They showed you the teaser for Mandalorian and Grogu. Even if Disney didn't reveal information about the upcoming Star Wars movies at D23, those details couldn't be much further off. Star Wars hasn't been in theaters since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, and both Lucasfilm and Disney need The Mandalorian and Grogu to be a success. The companies will need to begin marketing as soon as possible, and they'll need to confirm at least some of the upcoming movies' details to market them effectively. That means that news about the future of Star Wars is also almost certainly on the horizon. And now on to another topic, kind of similar to Borderlands. Rumors are swirling that Warner Brothers may be exiting the video game industry. Along with its recent blunders in the gaming sphere, the mass media company seems to be trying to make up for its current market share. The current market share price. This report has been widely spread by gaming news-related users on social media, such as Hazador Gaming on X. Their post links back to an article from Financial Times, which contains a few excerpts on the matter from an anonymous source. According to the article, Warner Brothers has been on thin ice with its investors since the merger with Discovery, in 2022, which was supposed to be an opportunity to reorganize its assets for the better. However, questionable business decisions and perhaps even more questionable leadership have led to WB's stock value being way below what it should be, reportedly. Due to the competitive nature of the gaming industry and the cost of producing new films and television series, the company's gaming division may face repercussions as a cost-cutting measure. While Warner Brothers still has upcoming games to be released, including a supposed Wonder Woman project, its most recent titles have all had their share of issues. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the prime example of the company's stumbles, where Warner Brothers lost roughly $200 million as the publisher of the game. Mortal Kombat 1 has received some criticism for its gruesome port on the Nintendo Switch and its initial lack of online crossplay at a launch. Despite reception for the beta being overwhelmingly positive, the full launch of Multiversus hasn't managed to retain its initial hype due to fan backlash against its monetization model and balance decisions. On the other hand, Hogwarts Legacy pulled massive numbers in terms of sales and streaming viewership for a single-player game. The anticipation and discourse surrounding the game have its benefits, although critical reception was mixed. The sticking point, however, may be the IP the game is a part of, more than anything to do with the game itself. Warner Brothers holds the right to create Harry Potter-related video games, with another title set to be released next month. If the rumors do prove to be true, the franchise could be the commodity that WB does away with too comfortable leave the video game industry. Whether there would be any suitable buyers for the IP is another story. The properties that WB owns have led to some great titles in the gaming world, such as the Batman Arkham series of games, but the company just seems to be out of touch in modern times. A new entry, Batman Arkham Shadow, will be an exclusive title for the MetaQuest 3 VR device. It serves as a direct sequel to Batman Arkham Origins. With that, we dive into our next topic. Brad Pitt and George Clooney's Wolves lands a sequel ahead of its limited theatrical release. The first film will be in theaters for a week before debuting on Apple TV+. Wolves, starring Brad Pitt and George Clooney, have secured a sequel just over a month before the movie opens in theaters. As reported by Deadline, Apple Original Films made a deal with John Watts to write, direct, and produce a sequel to his upcoming crime caper, which will have its premiere at the 81st Venice International Film Festival before heading to theaters, where the film will have a one-week limited release starting from September 20th. Apple acquired the rights to Wolves in 2021, with Sony Pictures later taking over theatrical distribution rights. It was originally slated for a wide theatrical release before going to Apple's streaming service, but the film has now pivoted to a short stint on the big screen, followed by its Apple TV Plus global debut on September 27th. Apple Original Films head of features Matt Dentler said, quote, "Wolves is the kind of big event movie that makes Apple TV Plus such an exceptional home for the best in entertainment. With George and Brad's remarkable and engaging chemistry under John Watts' extraordinary direction, Wolves blend all the great elements of comedy, action, and drama into a hugely entertaining movie that will leave audiences ready for what's next." Releasing the movie to theaters before making it widely available to Apple TV Plus customers brings the best of both worlds to audiences, and we're excited to see fans embrace the movie as we start working with John on the sequel. The first trailer for Wolves set the scene, or rather the crime scene, for what audiences should expect. As Clooney stars as professional fixer hired to cover up a high-profile case, but is forced to work with a second fixer played by Brad Pitt when he turns up at the same job, leading to an unexpected night in the big city. Pitt and Clooney lead the pack on Wolves, in a cast that also features Austin Abrams, Amy Ryan, And now on to our next topic. Cate Blanchett says, quote, "No one got paid anything on Lord of the Rings." Cate Blanchett says that no one got paid anything on Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movie. Blanchett, who is now starring in Eli Roth's Borderlands movie, previously Galadriel in Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, which included 2001's The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers, and Lord of the Rings The Return of the King. She then reprised her role in Jackson's Hobbit trilogy, which includes 2012's The Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, 2013's The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, and 2014's The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. During a recent episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Blanchett was asked what movie she'd done that gave her the biggest paycheck. When Cohen hypothesized that it could be Lord of the Rings, Blanchett responded, "Are you kidding me? No one got paid anything to do that movie." When asked if she got a piece of the back end by Cohen, Blanchett said, "No, that was way before any of that. No, nothing. I wanted to work with the guy who made Brain Dead. I mean, I basically got free sandwiches and I got to keep my ears." Brain Dead is a 92 zombie comedy horror movie that was released under the title Dead Alive in North America. Jackson served as an executive producer on the next Lord of the Rings movie, The Lord of the Rings The War of Rohirrim, which will be released in the US this coming December. The animated film is set before the events of Jackson's trilogy and tells the story of a king named Helm Hammerhand, voiced by Brian Cox. And now on to our next topic. Michelle Pfeiffer will officially star in Yellowstone sequel series The Medicine. Catwoman is on the ranch. Michelle Pfeiffer will officially star in the next spin-off in the Yellowstone world, filmed by creator Taylor Sheridan, called The Medicine. The show will star Pfeiffer, who will also executive produce. The show's previous working title was 2024. The story will follow a New York City family in the Madison River Valley of central Montana. According to Paramount, the show is a, quote, a heartfelt study of grief and human connection. Chris McCarthy, Paramount Global co-CEO and the president CEO of Showtime and MTV Entertainment Studios, said, quote, Michelle Pfeiffer is a remarkable talent who imbues every role with emotional depth, authenticity, and grace. She is the perfect anchor to the newest chapter of the Yellowstone universe. Suits star Patrick J. Adams and Kurt Russell are also rumored to be in talks to co-star, but no official deals have been announced with them. Yellowstone follows wealthy rancher John Dutton. Kevin Costner and his adult children include Casey, Jamie, Beth, and his son-in-law Rip Wheeler. Previously, it was reported that Matthew McConaughey would likely star in the sequel series, but a deal was never officially announced. McConaughey's future in the Yellowstone world is unclear. There was also a chance that Yellowstone stars Riley, Hauser, and Grimes would reprise their roles and join him in that series, although that was never officially confirmed either. Yellowstone has numerous other spin-off shows, including 1883 starring Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and Sam Elliott, and 1923 starring Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford. Sheridan has gotten into several public rumored feuds with his stars. Kevin Costner left Yellowstone under a cloud of rumors and accusations that he didn't prioritize the series over his film work, which he denied. Costner said, quote, I have taken a beating from those fucking guys, and I know a lot of times where it's coming from, referring to the Yellowstone producers and Sheridan, of course. Sheridan told The Hollywood Reporter in June 2023 about his feud with Costner, saying, quote, he and the network were arguing about when he could be done with Yellowstone. I said, we can certainly work a schedule toward his preferred exit date, which we did. Then he said, once lawyers got involved, then people don't get to talk to each other and start saying things that aren't true and attempt to shift blame based on how the press or public seem to be reacting. In June, Costner officially confirmed he won't be returning to the show, and instead shifting his focus on making his Western movie, Horizon, an American Saga. The first out of 4 films received dismal reviews, and his sequel is headed to the Venice Film Festival for its world premiere. Costner told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, it was a necessary decision to say, hey, okay, I don't really want to talk about this anymore. It's time to move on. The Dances with Wolves also addressed his fans in an Instagram video. Quote, I just want to reach out and let you know that after this long year and a half of working on Horizon and doing all the things that's required, thinking about Yellowstone, that beloved series that I love, that I know you love, I just realized that I'm not going to be able to continue season 5 or into the future. He added, I love it, and I know you loved it. I just want to let you know that it won't be returning. I love the relationships I've been able to develop, and I'll see you at the movies. Sheridan's Ranch also sued Yellowstone star Hauser's coffee brand. The new show does not yet have an announced premiere date, but is expected in 2025. The second half of the 5th and final season of Yellowstone premieres November 10th at 8 p.m. And before we go, we'd like to remind you, you can support the channel by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. Your support helps the channel grow, upgrade our equipment, bring new hosts, be able to pay them, and hopefully one day take this show on the road. And your support can help make that happen. Whether it's $1, $5, $10, or $20, your support can help make our dreams a reality. And of course, if you don't want to give directly to us, you can check out some of the affiliates that we have in the description and check out them. Any purchase you make through them also helps the channel in a small way. And don't forget, you can find us on Good Pods, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, all social media platforms. Just search The Cinema Gold Show. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.